Welcome, everyone, to this Monday on Local Grit. I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by Matthew Serena, who is one of the many faces at the Staircase Theater, and he does a lot of the programming over there. If anyone doesn't know what the Staircase is, where have you lived? But it is just on Dundurn by King, and it is a beautiful building and theater that is the home to improv, comedy, music, theater, plays, festivals, all things art, music, and theater. Matthew, welcome to the show.
Hello. Happy Monday.
Yes, it is a happy Monday today. So obviously the first question is, because maybe people don't know about the Staircase Theater, just give us a brief history of what's going on with the Staircase, how it started, how you got involved, and let's start there.
Yeah, the Staircase is a beautiful building. It's an arts incubation space that has been in operations with the same building owners since, I want to say, the late 90s. Since then, it's changed hands management wise a bunch of times, but it just keeps trucking along and you will not kill it. It's just we're losing so many venues left and right in the city that support the arts. So our biggest goal is to just be a safe space to try out their ideas and trying to be as affordable as possible to give people the chance to get up in front of people and kind of act out stuff they've written, or take a workshop or see a movie with friends or see a play, see a comedy show, learn how to do comedy, learn how to do improv. So the whole overall goal is to be a creative hub to the city and just be there for people's weird ideas.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it, because I don't think a lot of people understand that comedians and improv and plays, they will sometimes test out their stuff before they'll go on tour. And it's great to have a place for them to really just see how it's resonating, how they can refine their show. I'm most interested in improv and comedy because I'm very curious to try and do that. And so, how has the Staircase evolved as a cultural hub in Hamilton over years? What have you seen as the evolution? You've known about it for some time.
Oh, it's been very good at rolling with the trends and seeing what works and what doesn't work. I think that we do offer lots of things that we can do to offset costs, or like kids' birthday parties and private events and private screenings, which allow us to take more creative chances. So I think that some of the trends we're seeing is that it's very up and down. It's very stand-up comedy will be red hot for a second, then it'll someone will say the wrong thing somewhere and it'll kind of taper off. Then improv gets popular again and the workshops are packed. So I think that it's very much like a mirror to today's society of what people are enjoying online. And I think that during the pandemic, comedy got so much bigger because people were at home checking things off their bucket list of things they can do. And I feel like people started enjoying live comedy more after that. So there was a surge there. And it's just very up and down, like it always is. It's always finding things that you can do to offset the cost. You can take bigger swings on the things that might not be as, trend worthy, I guess.
That's interesting, because I find that is one thing that a lot of people don't understand about the arts is how much risk is involved. And so are you just throwing a lot of different pieces of spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks? Or do you actually kind of look for trends ahead of time, or is it a combination?
It's a combination. It's finding things that are kind of on the bubble of kind of really blossoming, and finding things that other venues aren't really doing yet. And then it's also a matter of people emailing us saying, "Hey, I've got a weird idea. What do you think? Do you think this is something you could work with?" And then it's just finding that financial number, because people don't know, running a theater out of a very old building is, the arts aren't necessarily swimming in cash. So for us, it's finding a way to make it work financially without crushing people's ideas. And we're pretty good at finding a way to make things work so it works for both sides. It just takes a bit of back and forth.
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of massaging that needs to be going. The numbers have to make sense that and people have to realize that. I know some people balk at how much the increase of price is, but in the arts, it's one of those things where I was like, I kind of get it. Like to make a living is so challenging and to take the risk is that's everything to an artist and to someone in the audience is not so no, they don't really understand it or see it that way. They just wanna be entertained, which is fair. Um, I love the building. I've always loved the building. I love driving by it, and we did our very first Hamilton, because I own Footprints Music, as you know, our very first recital was at the staircase on that stage in the main room on the right there, and it was amazing, and the only reason why we aren't there is just because we outgrew the space, but it was so great because of the multi levels. Would you say that that's the identity, is the architecture of that building? And is it a love hate thing? You mentioned that before.
Um, that has a lot to do with it. It's a very nondescript building on the outside. I feel like the amount of times people walk in saying, I never knew what was in here because the staircase is very much a if you know, you know type of thing. You don't know what that means until you step inside and see the black box theater or the bright room upstairs or the Elaine May next door or the lounge. So I think that even now we just got some signage saying theater and lounge under to kind of quell that mystery of what's inside. And I think
Yeah,
that once people see the vibe and the architecture and like the high ceilings, and it feels grander. Like you can go to a small black box theater and it's not underwhelming, but it takes a lot of imagination. But I feel like once you're in the lounge going into the theater, it just adds this kind of majesty to it. It adds this kind of magical old school feeling that you're going to see a show.
yeah,
So I think that it definitely plays more than it hurts. You know, where it hurts is obviously hydro costs and
right.
renovations, but from the audience and performance perspective, we do whatever we can to make you feel like a bigger deal than you might be. 'Cause that's kind of my experience there. With that
Yeah.
place, just it's everything.
It's like the Doctor Who TARDIS. It's like just a phone booth on the outside, and then you go in and you're like, "What?" And there's so many festivals that I've been to, and just not even even just local artisans, just going into the rooms, and there's so many floors and hidden areas. What kind of and so what kind of communities have formed around the staircase? I know that you've mentioned a little bit of comedy, but there have been other communities that have been there too.
Yeah, it's like improv alone. The improv workshops have been running, mostly taught by the building owner. So the
Mm,
Elaine May Theater right next door, the improvs run out of there. I think we've got courses Mondays, Wednesdays, and then Tuesdays, Thursdays are private classes for workshops. But yeah, the comedy scene it has a lot rich history there of just the improv and stand up, and then open mic and karaoke. It's just like these little small little groups that just kind of like their home turf almost.
right. Yeah. And so, how would you say, what role is the staircase in Hamilton's broader arts and cultural ecosystem?
I think that we our capacities technically are on the smaller side. Like the black box theater holds 63 people, the lounge tops out at 40. So I think that we're very much the perfect target for niche acts while kind of like people there want to see shows in a smaller atmosphere, way more intimate. I think that we're not quite the size of the bigger guys, which means that people can kind of take bigger swings with us. I think we're
Mm,
not quite the people for the beginners in the scene, but it's like when you're a little more established and want to try something out, I think that's kind of our niche kind of role.
yeah. And then, so how do you decide what an event to host? Now, you talked about the numbers. Is it the name of the performer? Is it that something that is trending that you know will be economically viable? Is it underage shows, or because I know that you serve alcohol, do you try to cater to more of the adult scene? What are some of the decision making processes in terms of what events and things to host?
That's a great question. I think for us, because the building has four rentable spaces and we're at our busiest on weekends, we're kind of able to move things around. Like we recently got into music concerts through Brody, formerly of the Casbah. He uses the Bright Room for a lot of shows.
Awesome.
So if we can pair things together where we know there's going to be a knockout show upstairs, we can take a bit of a chance downstairs. Or if there's a birthday party next door, that cost is going to cover our risk for putting something on in the theater. So I think for us, we're kind of half a space that puts on events produced by us and half rentals. So it usually depends if it's a public event or a private event. That'll determine our risk factor. And then it's a matter of age group. People are spending way less. Everyone knows these days when they go out, drinking a lot less.
Yeah.
So with us, it's making sure that if we're doing enough private events, it'll offset the costs of trying something out of an event that someone wants to do. So it's just this delicate tap dance, looking at the schedule and seeing what's coming up and what's going to kind of make sense for everyone. And then because we have a small kitchen, I don't consider us a cafe, more an upscale concession stand. So we got your hot dogs, fries, chicken taquitos, and just like a rotating hot dog of the month and rotating popcorn flavors. So it's finding small little ways that add up bigger to kind of offset
Mhm.
costs of being a performance space in a time of the economy where people aren't spending as much money.
Yeah. I know that in the past you have also done bigger events, like you've had part of the fringe festivals and some festivals like that. So what type of audiences do you aim to try to reach with your, because you have such a diverse event offering? Are you just going local to Hamilton, or are you trying to have a broader scope of outside of the Hamilton area?
I think it's mostly local and smaller touring acts that are kind of passing through. We typically, if someone has a show in Guelph or Kitchener or, Toronto, they'll reach out to us saying, "Hey, do you have an opening 2 days before?" And it's kind of a mix of, yeah, local touring acts and local performers and people kind of preparing for a bigger show. We're a very good rehearsal, performance space to work out the kinks in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
And then we've got full, drama productions where the theater is turned into a 70s style kitchen. Like it's versatile enough in being a black box theater that you can have a set in there. You can kind of treat it like it's a bigger room than it is. So it kind of runs the gamut. It's a very, very good space for finding a vibe and just tweaking it to fit what it is you want to do.
Right, right. And then what um what would you say is you know, totally lost my question there, which is my favorite thing to do when I'm doing my podcast. But what's one memorable event that you can think of that had you laughing, crying, or ecstatic?
We had a trivia night custom or a trivia night slash party for the show Bob's Burgers last year. And
Cool.
people dressed up. Like to me, my favorite thing is watching people dress up and nerd out about things they're passionate about. So I
Yeah.
think those type of events are the ones I lean into the most. We had a private birthday party where they had a screening of the musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And it was just
Mhm.
like a sea of older people dressed like demons. And it was just so cool. I think that when we get bookings that really lean into the weird, I think those ones are always going to be my favorite. Like Hamilton Fringe is where the building gets turned upside down for, like, we typically have 10 productions running over the 11 days. So it's 3 rooms, 10 productions. They just repeat over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And we've had some really like Devin Bateson's Men Love Horses. It's a musical about how much men love horses. And like Justin Shaw has been just killing it with show after show, and Christy Bolton. Like we've got these like performers know our space so intimately well that they're taking chances every year because they know the space and they know we're as supportive as we can be. So
Yeah.
to me, it's finding those artists that just need that little extra push of support to kind of show that we got your back on this. We want it. We want people to see who you are. I think those ones are my favorite ones.
That's awesome. Like, it's so rare to have the club as supporting the artists, because quite often through history. Now, mainly I talk about music because that's more my background. A lot of clubs are the opposite. They want to make it as difficult as possible in many ways of who can come, how many passes you get, all of those things. So it's nice to see supporting. And that is, would you say that's your vision, is just being supportive as much as possible?
Yeah. So my history of the building, I ran a show there called Hammer Night Live starting in 2013 that ran for about 6 years. It was once a month. It was a comedy variety talk show. And I think had, the previous management not taken that chance on me, like to me, this is me giving back. This is me kind of being like, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for that show and, learning how to
Wow.
perform and talk to people and host. And
Yeah.
I think that because of that, it's this building feels like a rite of passage. Like to me, it's just about being a spot for the arts when it's never been more needed in this world, I think.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Um, and with that, though, there does come a huge amount of marketing that I'm sure is overwhelming. What are some of the marketing methods that you find are most advantageous? And what do you think is your number one channel on social media, as I'm presuming that's the first and most popular?
Well, with us, as much as I'd like us to be like a bar that's open events or not, like we're in such a tough physical area where we're not Westdale, we're not downtown, we're not Lock Street,
Right.
we're not necessarily walkable. So we're very much a destination spot. So for us, it has to be about the event that's coming in. No, I wouldn't say no one, but like people aren't walking in saying, what show's happening tonight? I'll check that out. Like there's a handful of people that do support it that way. So for
Yeah.
us, it's about social media and Instagram and stories and encouraging local artists to tag us so we can share their events and Instagram collabs. It's just sometimes being an artist and being a marketer aren't necessarily hand in hand. It's for us, it's finding that system that makes it clear cut. Here's what we need. Here are the graphic sizes that we're looking for from you. Let us tell people about your event. We want it on our website calendar. So for events that other people are putting on, it's just about helping further that signal. I think we're a very good space that people know about to have, some weird stuff and some quality stuff and everything in between. So I think that Instagram's our biggest social media, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a really good point because I know that I've heard this time and time again is that artists did not sign up to be content creators. And
Yeah.
it is to work at your craft and to have to do social media. And you could say, oh, well, they're doing something that they love, but it's like it takes a lot of time to be good at what you're doing. It takes huge amounts of hours and that creativity to come through on social media and to follow the algorithm to follow that's a daunting huge amount of things. Do you hear that a lot from your performers? Is that why you another reason why
Yeah.
you try to help out as best?
Yeah, it's the algorithms change so much, and like there are people who think that, well, I posted on my Facebook wall, why aren't all my friends here? And like I come from a background of doing stand up for so many years, and it was like all your friends and supporters will be there for the first year or two, then you get good, and by that point everyone's already not sick of supporting you, but it's like, well, I saw you already, I'm okay, but
No.
I'm good now, please come back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like there's the support you get from friends and family, then there's the support you get from general public if your idea hits that sweet spot where it's intriguing enough and there's something about it that people want to come check out. It's an ever-changing thing with us, is finding templates and finding like marketing guides and just like making it so that the artist is doing the least amount of work possible, but also providing us with what we need to tell people about the event. I don't blame them for not knowing how the correct way to post about things and get word out and press releases and should I pay money to advertise in the paper? It's just the world is so divided with things to do right now. There's
Yeah.
no clear cut answer how to get word out about an event.
Yeah. And I mean some people are technically advanced and some aren't. And it's almost you're punished for not being there, which is challenging. And it's just I'm not trying to make excuses, but I am trying to say that this is a real problem for music. I remember being in bands, and I used to do lighting for my friends' bands who had good, they were with the Tragically Hip management. They were going places, they were big. And, filling the El Macombo on a Wednesday evening, every other Wednesday in the summertime, which is what the gig they had, is hard. And you need to lean on friends, but then you don't want to be asking too much of friends, but it really does start with that. And now you would think, oh, it's just easy to like and share things, but in many ways the ubiquity of it makes it sometimes watered down even more. People are find it hard to support. I'm sure that you've heard that as well, or experienced that yourself with the place.
Yeah,
um
when people are just spending less money going out, and it's you're competing against so much more than you used to be. Like you're competing with before it was you're competing with other events. Now you're competing with the idea of going out and spending money. Like people are being a lot more choosy on where their money is going. So on our end, it's about creating as much value as we can to kind of offset that a bit. So you know you're going to see something cool, but you're also going to have a fun experience with us. I hope.
yeah, and I mean, you talk about money, and what else has kind of evaporated is municipal, provincial, and federal funding for the arts. That has also kind of evaporated. Do you find it's challenging to find some funding for those for things that you need?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's. I mean, the city. I'm not going to trash talk the city here. This is gotcha journalist. You got me. You finally got me. But
Yeah,
it. Yeah, there's not a ton out there that's gonna kind of like support us. Like we've had some issues with the city, and our ward counselor has been so fantastic with making sure everything's sorted and we're okay. But it shouldn't have to come to contacting your ward counselor to make changes to kind of like support a venue that has been there for so long.
yeah,
And it's just the city can be a minefield with permits and blueprints and inspections that I don't get it. It's just
yeah.
the cost maintaining it alone. It's just it adds up.
Yeah, and there is time to navigate the whole field of options. I know it is quite challenging to get grants, and I think it's important because I think now we need arts. The arts are so important in people's lives that they should. I think that the funding. I make it sound easy. I'm sure it's challenging, but even just going through the process of getting a grant can be a lot easier, less red tape for sure. Totally agreed there. Yeah, our counselor is amazing, but you're right. It should be a specific um, a specific person that you would need to go to. Um, Shifting with all of the things that the staircase offers, how do you balance your cultural spaces for certain events and your private events? Because you also rent out the space for someone to do something privately as opposed to publicly. Would you say it's about 50-50? What are some challenges there that you've noticed, and what do you how easy it is to rent the space for a private event?
I think it depends on what the private event is and what day of the week. Like for us, Thursday through Sunday, but more I guess I would more say Fridays and Saturdays are our big nights. Having a private event on the main floor on a weekend, we've done it, not often, but it's just a financial case. It's setting up, excuse me, it's setting up what we need to like offset costs, whether it's a higher rental rate or a lower rental rate with a minimum food and drink spend. It's working backwards and saying, okay, if we rent out the theater for a private event on a Friday, what would we need to make for it to be financially reasonable to turn down a booking or a public performance?
Right.
So, with us, because the lounge is connected to the theater, you can't have a private event in the theater, but still have the lounge have a different event because of noise bleed, unless it works out But like the bright room is on the third floor. Unless there's live drums, the sound does not carry that much. So
Right.
we'll typically have a public event downstairs and a private event upstairs, or vice versa. So I think what saves our hide is having so many rentable spaces. And it's looking at an event and saying, okay, you need space for 40 people. The bright room's like only accessible by stairs. It is 3 flights of stairs. It is way too many stairs, but you booked at the staircase. It just is what it is. So it's, if we can find the right event that doesn't mind, pop them upstairs, have a live show downstairs, and just like is looking at noise levels and costs and being really pragmatic and making sure it still fits their vision for what they want to do. So it's like a three-prong kind of system.
Name one night where you've had the whole place or almost the whole place packed with different events. Is it totally chaotic or is it totally awesome?
We've had people go to the wrong show. Like we try to go as far out of our way as possible to not book 2 comedy shows at the same time,
Right.
because we found that we thought it could work where if you walk up and someone's working box office and says, "What are you here to see?" Comedy show. All right. But we were hitting a point where people are there to support their friends, but they might not know what the show is called. They just know their friend is in it. So
Right.
sometimes they say the wrong thing and catch the first 5 minutes of a show they're not there to see. So we try our bestest to make sure that the shows in the building, if we got a Friday night where every room is booked, they're different enough that we can tell based on what they tell us what show they're there to see. And that's also very difficult,
I mean,
but it gets hot.
I totally think that adds to the adventure of it, but I know that some people might not feel that way because the inside is amazing. Um, I want to talk about improv and comedy a little bit because it's my area of interest these days. I'm very much interested in doing stand up comedy. Um, do you need talent to go to your improv or comedy workshops? What levels do you offer for those types of workshops? Any level? Can anyone walk in off the street?
That's a great question. So for that, I would say go to staircaseimprov.com. Hugh McLeod, who owns the building, it's a master improv instructor, they kind of run it themselves. So they're part of the building, but they kind of like manage the show. I
Right,
believe Monday is the open house workshop, and Wednesday, I think, is the more advanced one. And then the other days are for like invite only workshops and like paid classes. Yeah, Monday is the one I think I recommend going to. It's run out of the Elaine May Theater. I believe it's 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, somewhere in that range on Mondays.
hmm, nice. And then have you has the Staircase Theater brought any major talents coming out of there? How have you contributed to the local performance culture? One person who I love to see is Tor. I forget his last name. He's hilarious, and I saw him at the Staircase Theater. But are there any other great names that we should keep a lookout for, or who are kind of up and coming and or touring bigger?
Oh, I think like my 2 personal favorites, and I'm biased because they're friends of mine, but Devin Bateson and Justin Shaw are just insane. Like Devin, like the Fringe is 11 shows, and you're able to pick however many you want to do. And most people will do like 7 or, between 7 and 9 to give themselves a break so they're not performing every night for 11 nights. He does a
Mm,
straight 11. And I think that that's the kind of insanity we need in the arts.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, he's just got accepted into the San Francisco Sketch Fest. And I just, from his ideas, I want to see what he's going to do next. And I think that, he's going to do some weird stuff. And I'm always a fan of that.
nice. And so who are you drawing to the improv workshops and do you have drop-ins? Like can you just do you or is it done on like a scheduled term basis?
For improv, I believe you have to register online. So it's due to space because the workshops do fill up. So you have to register online, and then they take care of all of that. But yeah,
Nice. And what type of person are you drawing in? Are they mostly local Hamilton people? Do you get them from outside the Hamilton area?
mostly local because Toronto has
Mostly
such
local.
a high improv scene. So it's mostly people from Hamilton and the surrounding area.
Yeah. Okay, tricky question. How is our community benefiting from the arts? What's your opinion on that?
Oh, how is it bending for me? I think that whether it's from a form of expression or it could be from a form of just getting out of the house and forgetting about stuff and just being transported away into a weird idea and just getting everyone on board for the strangest thing and getting everyone on the same page. To me, that's what it kind of benefits from. It's just like you were saying, we need the art so badly right now just because things are terrible. Things are
Yeah,
just terrible.
yeah,
And I think that having a safe space is just so crucial to getting your ideas out.
yeah. I mean, I was watching a lot of politics before this, and I started this podcast because it was driving me absolutely mental. And now, basically, Rachel, my wife and I, we mostly watch comedy now. That's that's all we want to do is we just want to unwind from the day and just laugh. And that's what I love about the staircase. You guys offer that. Um, how what do you see as the future for the staircase for the next 5 to 10 years? There's been lots of iterations. What's the vision that you guys have?
I don't think there's going to be a massive change just because the age of the building prohibits us from doing anything totally wacky.
Hmm.
I think it's just maintaining it, making sure it's alive, and keep being that space that is as affordable as it can be for your show or idea. And I think that it's just about, I would love to be open every evening as a bar slash cafe. So whether you're there to see a show or not, you can come in and grab a drink and meet a friend. I don't know if we'll ever get there, but
Hmm.
that's my own personal goal.
That's a great goal. Yeah, being open every day would be fantastic. Are you going to expand any of the programming or do any more community outreach in the near future? Do you have anything that's happening that's completely out there and new coming up?
I'd love to get more neighborhood events in. Like we were rented out pretty frequently by like the Strathcona tenants for their tenant meetings. Like I'd love to
Mm,
be more, uh, you know, as able as I can be to help support the neighborhood with local events. Like I'd love to have more of a local flavor. I think past the art stuff is just a space for neighborhood to meet up. I think that's kind of what I would love.
nice. And do you offer a monthly membership or anything from residents that people can join?
We don't only because our events structure vary from private to public. So having any kind of like membership means we'd be giving tickets to a show we're not producing. And sometimes people think that we're kind of like the people in charge of the shows, where a lot of the times we're just the people unlocking the doors and
Right.
setting up the bar for the event that's happening. So I'd love to have something in place like a season pass. We've talked about that, of having something that kind of rewards the people that want to support us and just kind of always be there. That's another goal of mine.
Yeah, no, that would be great. So how can residents and visitors get involved? Can they do you have volunteer applications? What are some big things that you would love people to do to get the staircase just booming?
I would say spread the word on our events. Check out our Instagram at Staircase Hamilton. Or sorry, just the Staircase for Instagram, and then staircasehamilton.com. We've got a website calendar that kind of blocks off when events are happening. I think it's just spreading word that if you have an idea or you want to rent the space for a birthday or just you want to have a retirement party, or private screenings are always a lot of fun. We've got a 63 seat theater that you can watch whatever movie you want to, friends and family, and have a private event to just kind of geek out about whatever you want. I think that letting people know that we have an active physical theater in the neighborhood, I think is just that's kind of what I would love to get out there. I don't think it's as well known as it could be.
Nice, yeah. And then what are some big events that are coming up in January? It's January Monday, January 12th right now. What are some events that are coming for the rest of the month?
Great question. January is one of our slower months, so it is a lot of like birthday parties and check my own
Interesting.
calendar. What do we got?
That's really cool that you have
We've
movies
got a
to
youth
rent. I didn't even know you guys did that. That's awesome.
Yeah, we've got some stuff in the bright room. Open mic returns on the 21st. That runs the third Wednesday of every month.
Is
We
that
do
comedy or
have
music?
an event, mostly music, but you can do comedy.
Oh, cool.
We do have an event that I'm crazy about called Power Hang. It's the last Friday of every month, and my buddy Dan collects these. He just scours the internet for old TV clips and pilots and news segments and commercials, and he kind of weaves them together over a 2 hour period of stuff you kind of remember from when like growing up. And it just shows that all the things that networks and TV have thrown at the wall like spaghetti. And it's a very weird night, but we're finding
That's cool.
it's bringing out like a lot of introverted people who love this stuff but don't know how to express that in public. So we get these really cool
Yeah.
people who are just like obsessed with media and pop culture from, the 80s to, early 2000s. So to me, that's my favorite night just because it
Yeah.
has such a cool vibe with people and, weird
Nice.
commercials.
And he does that the last Friday of every month.
Yep, last Friday every month. Smooth Comedy is my favorite comedy show that runs out of the Bright Room. Also, the last Friday of the month. It's run by some friends of mine, Kim, Darren, and Devin, and they bring out some cool, Toronto-based comedians, some local comedians, some sketch, some magic, and it's a really fun comedy show.
That's fantastic. Matthew, thank you so much for being on Local Grit. I love the staircase, so I'm so glad that we can do this, and hopefully we can do another episode and we can dive deep into something a little more granular. But I just wanted everyone to know about the Staircase Theater. I think it's so important. I think it's a huge part of Hamilton. I think it's an amazing space. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
No problem. It's always a pleasure.